Welcome. I would like to welcome you to another episode of the Unpopular Podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. And if you do me a favor, please subscribe to if you're listening. Please subscribe to if you're watching. It definitely means a lot to me. You know how they say actions speak louder than words? Well, that saying couldn't be more true when we talk about what the 49ers just did with Jimmy G. Now, the 49ers, for people that don't know, signed Jimmy D to a 1-year contract, no trade clause, to stay with the 49ers. Now, if you're thinking like I was thinking, wait, weren't they trying to trade Jimmy G? Yes. And this is what I mean when I say actions speak louder than words. This Jimmy G move, as far as the 49ers keeping Jimmy G, speaks loud. And it speaks loud for in a lot of different areas. And let's discuss them. First and foremost, let's talk about the Jimmy G side of the situation. The 49ers wanted to get off of Jimmy G. That was probably their number one objective this offseason, was to get off of Jimmy G. The problem is, there's sometimes that people can undervalue and overvalue an asset. And let's talk about what Jimmy G is. Jimmy G is an okay quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's good enough to be a starting quarterback. But the problem is, Jimmy G has not shown that he's good enough to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Now, yes, he did get the 49ers to the Super Bowl, and he also led them to an NFC championship last year. But it was mainly because, the 49ers is a interesting team. This team is a Super Bowl caliber team. If any other quarterback was the quarterback for the 49ers, say you put Aaron Rodgers on the 49ers, they would be the Super Bowl favorites by a long shot. Put Patrick Mahomes on here, favored by a long shot. Josh Allen, favored. Hell, if you put Tom Brady on this team, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, they would be prohibitive Super Bowl favorites. But the problem is you have Jimmy G. See, Jimmy G has limitations. Every quarterback has limitations. But the limitation that Jimmy G has holds this team back. I'm not saying that Jimmy G is a bad quarterback. He's not. But he's not a quarterback. If he is your starting quarterback, I said this before. I said this on a couple episodes ago, a good episode. I don't know when I said it, but I did say it on this podcast. There are quarterbacks that need help. Every quarterback needs help, but need more help than others. What do I mean by that? Aaron Rodgers doesn't need that much help. Aaron Rodgers is so good, he can make anybody good. He can make anybody great. I think we're going to see that in full display this year, seeing as though Devontae Adams left. But Aaron Rodgers can make anybody good. He can make any situation good. As we've seen, Russell Wilson doesn't need much to succeed. He had a poor offensive line. He didn't have the best receiving core. His coaching, that was inconsistent. The running game was inconsistent, yet they were still winning. Now, yes, they didn't win a Super Bowl, but Russell Wilson doesn't need a lot to win. He's that good. Jimmy G is in that class where you need a lot to win. You need a good offensive line. You need a good defense. You need solid, prime time weapons in the wide receiver core, the running back core. That's what they need for him to be successful. And because they gave him that, they make it to the NFC Championship. They make it to the Super Bowl. Even though they didn't win, they make it to the Super Bowl. But you take that away from Jimmy G, he's not that good. And honestly, they gave him that. And I started this off with saying, you put a top tier quarterback behind this team, behind the 49ers, they're prohibitive favorites to win the Super Bowl. This is a Super Bowl winning caliber roster. So because of all this, the 49ers understand what window they have. And the 49ers also understand how good this team is. And they understand that this team isn't going to go as far or isn't going to reach the heights that it wants to reach with Jimmy G as their starting quarterback, which is why they were okay. They wanted to get off him. They were trying to trade him. They allowed him to go find a trade partner. The thing that messed them up is, of course, the shoulder surgery that Jimmy G got, and the fact of, we know his limitations, and there's not a lot of starting positions in the NFL now. Yes, Jimmy G is better than a couple starting quarterbacks. Like, I think he's better than Geno Smith and Drew Lock. I think, you can definitely, we'll see what happens with Chicago. We'll see what happens with Minnesota. But because of who Jimmy G is and because of the shoulder injury, the market dried up for him, where they were either going to have to let him go for nothing, which you don't want to do because he's still a good quarterback, or you keep him. And there's no question that the 49ers is moving forward with Trey Lance. They feel that Trey Lance is their guy, which is why Jimmy G is now going to be a backup, at least for a year. And it's also telling about Trey Lance. This move is telling when we talk about Trey Lance. I'm not saying that they don't have faith in Trey Lance. Do not hear me say that. They have all the faith in the world in Trey Lance because they were willing to let Jimmy G go, a quarterback, like I just said, that got them to the Super Bowl. But what is the biggest knock that we've heard from Trey Lance? His accuracy is an issue, and his consistency is not as consistent. He's inconsistent, let's say that. See, that doesn't work when you have a Super Bowl caliber roster. Again, that'll fly if you have the Bears roster, but if you have the Commanders roster, if you have if you have the Detroit Lions roster, that inconsistency can fly, because it's like you don't, even if you play your best, you aren't winning a Super Bowl. But that can't be the case. That's not the case for the 49ers. And another reason why they bring Jimmy G back is because they understand if things go south with Trey Lance, they have a quarterback that has at least gotten them to the Super Bowl. Now, I think it was more of the team than Jimmy G, but at least he got them there. This means that this organization doesn't have as much faith in Trey Lance as they originally thought when they gave him the keys. I'm not saying that they're taking the keys away from him, but the things that have plagued, or the concerns that the 49ers have had with Trey Lance don't seem to have improved. Because if they did, they would have no problem. Yes, money-wise, it sucks, but they would have absolutely no problem in releasing Jimmy G. I think the 49ers know where they are and know the opportunity that they have. And you also understand that you don't want to lose Jimmy G for nothing. So why not at least keep him for a year, making him the highest paid backup? I think Jimmy G is he's a great backup. He's a good starting quarterback. He's a great backup. And we'll just see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I don't, because of the quarterback situation, whether you have Trey Lance at the starting quarterback, whether you have Jimmy G starting quarterback, I don't think that the 49ers is a Super Bowl caliber team because of the quarterback position. Do not hear me. Again, the 49ers is an interesting team, because if you look on paper, this is one of the best, if not the best roster in all of football, if you ask me. Nick Bosa, Warner, Deebo Samuels, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. This is a Trent Williams. This is a monstrous team. But because they have so many question marks at the quarterback position, one, that's one of the biggest reasons why they brought Jimmy G back. And two, I don't know yes, maybe the NFC, I mean, yeah, you have Tom Brady, you have Aaron Rodgers. We'll see what happens with Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray. But when you look at the team, the quarterbacks that they have to face, if they, let's say they do make it to the Super Bowl, they could face Josh Allen, they can face Lamar Jackson, they can face Patrick Mahomes, they can face Justin Herbert, they can face Joe Burrow. That's a tall task, especially when you already know that there's going to be a definitive talent gap in quarterbacks when we talk about Trey Lance or Jimmy G compared to a lot of these quarterbacks that are in the AFC. So I understand why they bring him here. I understand, you don't want to lose Jimmy G for nothing. And that's what you essentially would be doing if you released him. And they also don't trust what they're seeing out of Trey Lance. It's not saying that Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback, but they don't trust that he's going to make the improvements moving forward in this season, or they don't trust that he can stay healthy. Not saying that he has an injury history, but Trey Lance hasn't knocked it out the park. Because if he did, Jimmy G would not be wearing a 49ers jersey right now. I promise you that. Because they don't even want him to be wearing a 49ers jersey. They tried to trade him and couldn't. So there's that, man. Let me speak on this briefly. So the Buffalo Bills released punter Matt Ariza after college. After I think it was San Diego State University. He was accused of a gang rape of a 17-year-old girl. And since then, he's been released. Now, time and time again, bro, the league shows you their number one thing that they care about is the shield. These players, see what the league is doing, and shouts out to Stephen A. Smith. He said this: what the league is doing, and what the league has to be careful about is. Let me first preface this by saying these were allegations. I'm not saying he didn't do it, but these are allegations, meaning he could have done it, he could not have done it. I'm not saying either way. I'm saying these are allegations. The same thing with Deshaun Watson. They're allegations. I'm not saying he didn't do it because that's 24 plus women, but those are allegations. What the league is doing, and the league is needs to be careful with this, is they're trying to do the justice system's job and handing down punishment for one, crimes that people have been the allegations of crimes. But what they're also trying to do is they're trying to do this while staying true to the brand. Excuse me. Staying true to the brand. And keeping the brand safe, keeping the shield protected, keeping the shield clean. That doesn't work. Because I hear a lot of people praising the Bills for doing the right thing by releasing punter Matt Ariza. If I'm saying your name wrong, my fault. They're being praised for doing the right thing and releasing him. These organizations spend millions on these players. You think the Bills didn't know that this was a thing before they drafted him or got him? You think the Bills did not know that Matt Ariza had gang rape allegations attached to his name before they even brought him on the team. This is the Bills covering their ass because they see that the story is starting to pick up steam. And they see that people are starting to be more outraged that this man is still on the team. It was like, all right, well, yeah, I'll let you go. It's not because they care so much about the victim. They don't. I be real, they don't care about the victim. They care that people caught wind of this, and now it's becoming a big story. It goes back to when I said about the Deshaun Watson thing. If this wasn't such a big story, if people didn't care, if the fans didn't care, if the media didn't care, he would have got 6 games, and everyone would have been cool with it. But because it was public outrage everywhere, the league had to step in and was like, "All right, we don't want to suspend you. We don't want to suspend you a whole season because you're a great quarterback. So we'll just give you 11 games." That's what's going on, bro. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what's going on. They don't care, bro. They have to be careful. And what Stephen A. Smith said, what the league will do is they'll let you go handle your situation so it doesn't away from the shield, away from the NFL, and then you'll be able to come back. That's true, but that doesn't always happen. Because think about it. He's a punter. You can get punters anywhere. Bro, they got what's the name? D-Storm. They got a dude on YouTube that's been trying to be a punter for the longest. They can go get a punter anywhere. That only works when you're a generational talent because the league keeps going. Bro, tomorrow, next week, tomorrow, this Matt Ariza thing will not be a story. They'll move on to, what did Lamar Jackson say on Twitter? Or Aaron Rodgers taking Percocets. Like every football player takes drugs because of how much physical toll it takes on the body. This Matt Ariza thing is going to go by, and the league is praying for that. So yeah, shouts out to the Bills for doing the right thing and releasing a player that has gang rape allegations of a 17-year-old, by the way, attached to his name. But the fact that he was even on a football roster lets you know what the league cares about and what they don't. I don't want to keep coming on here expressing to you time and time again why there shouldn't be that much public outrage, because that much public outrage ain't doing nothing. The league is still going to league because people are still going to watch. Now, I'm not saying boycott the league. I'm saying understand it. And with understanding, maybe there isn't as much anger. I'm not sitting here saying that the league is right. There's many instances where the league shows that they don't care about victims. They don't care about anything that has nothing to do with the league. If it deals with a person, not the league, which goes back to Calvin Ridley, that involves the league. That make the league look bad because now you can question every player betting, every player, insider betting, insider trading. You can question that because this was behind the shield. This affects the shield. Now you don't know, did he throw that interception because he's betting? Did he not catch the pass because he's gambling? That's what's going to creep in. That's why they so severely punished Calvin Ridley. This whole sexual allegation, rape, none of that stuff, that got nothing to do with the league. That has everything to do with you. So you go figure that out. That has everything to do with the individual. You go figure that out. We ain't got nothing. This ain't a Ravens issue. This ain't this isn't a Cleveland Browns issue. This is a Deshaun Watson issue. This isn't a Buffalo Bills issue. This is a Matt Ariza issue. So y'all go figure that out. We're going to keep doing what we do here. I'm telling you, man, the league shows you what they care about. People are just naive in thinking that, oh, this time is going to be different. No, it is not. It's not going to be different because of just how much money the league makes. Hell, there was a story. You think they care about their players too? There was a story, Wes Welker. I think they weren't trying to cover his medical bills because they're saying that the surgery that he had or whatever has nothing to do with football. Wes Welker, a Super Bowl champion, by the way. So the league is going to show you what they care about. I don't think Matt Ariza is ever going to be back in the league, even if he was found not guilty, because he's a punter. I know they call him the punt god or whatever. He's a punter. Now, if it was a quarterback, that'd be a different story, but he's a punter. But things are gonna keep happening. And the league is going to be very poor on reacting to it. That's just how it is. Now, I'm not saying get over it. I'm saying the league shows you time and time again what they care about. They only care about their brand, their bottom line. That's it. So continuing my divisional breakdown that I do I've been doing before the season starts. Today I am breaking down the NFC East. Now, this is a division unlike any other because you talk about a division that saw the highest of heights. Like the Giants have a storied history. The Cowboys have a storied history. The Washington team, Commanders, had a storied history. The Eagles, they won the most recent championship. To go from that to where this division is now is mind-boggling. To now arguably the worst division in football. Definitely a lot of question marks, but it's just crazy, man. And I wanted to bring on my man Jerrell and Bumpy, the hosts of 1,000 Jumpers podcast, to break down the NFC East, their fellow Washingtonians and or Marylanders, if you want to call them. But I wanted to bring them on and have an honest conversation about this division and what they see from each team. And, without further ado, here's my conversation with 1,000 Jumpers podcast with us about us breaking down the NFC East. So we're talking about the NFC East. I wanted to put this off for a while because, as people know, I am a Washington Commanders fan.
I hate our name.
I'm from the
but that's my team. I hate our name though.
Yeah, from the DMV. But we're not going to talk about them. Yes, we are. No, we're not. We're not going to talk about them first. What we're going to do is we're going to get the rest of the NFC East, and then we're going to shed our grievances about our team last.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Eagles first. For some now, I'm not just saying now. Okay, I'm going to take as much bias out until we talk about our Washington team. I'm going to take as much bias as I can out. I'm not riding with the hype with the Eagles because of I don't trust Jalen Hurts as much as other people.
Okay.
I remember
something against black quarterbacks.
No, definitely not against black quarterbacks. But we've seen Jalen Hurts not try, but when you have to throw the ball, he's not the best quarterback. Now, yes, he didn't have a number one receiver like AJ Brown that he does now. And there's a reason why the Eagles were the number one rushing team last year, because they really didn't have no wide receivers. But I remember what happened in the playoffs now, of course, it is the Bucs, but when the Bucs made them pass the ball, they looked hella pedestrian. And I think that I'm still holding. Okay, let me say this, and I'll give it to you, Bobby. If Jalen Hurts is what people are projecting him to be, I think that the Eagles are going to easily win this division. I think they'll have the best quarterback. I think they arguably have the best defense between Washington and Eagles. Definitely have one of the best wide receivers in the conference or division. I don't know, but I'm still holding out hope. I mean, not holding out. I'm still skeptical. How you feel about it, Bobby?
Man, the Eagles gonna be good. We gotta realize that they're gonna be a 10-win team at least. You know? Even if Jalen Hurts ain't great, like he don't have to be great with that line they got. Well, they still got Sanders and whatnot. And like you said, you got AJ Brown. You're gonna win a lot of jump balls. Like that's what happens. Like you don't need a great quarterback. You just need someone who can get it there, and then with a dude like that, he gonna make a play. So especially with that run offense, there's gonna be a lot of single coverage on that man. And then they got the Heisman winner, bro, Devontae Smith, bro.
Devontae Smith, yeah.
That boy good.
People forget about how good he is.
Like he's good. He's not. Yeah. He might not be a number one receiver right now.
I think he is
good.
You think Devontae is?
I think Devontae could be a number one. So
for a good offense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Devontae wasn't getting the necessary looks.
If Devontae's on our team,
whatever reason.
Terry?
Right now, no.
Okay.
Right now, no.
And Terry's, middle of the pack.
So to add to your point, Rob, it's a Jalen Hurts decision on how far they can go. As a team, they're the best team in our division because
he can run the ball.
No, but here's the thing: they don't even use Miles Sanders in the way they should. I'm grateful for that. However, there's not a single corner in our division that can strap AJ Brown 1-on-1. There's not a single corner, right? So now you're putting Devontae as a 2, which Devontae was already cooking half the ones in our division. Now he's going to cook the majority 2s in our division.
That's true.
And then their defense, the defensive line got better with Fletcher Cox, not to mention Jordan Davis. That's disgusting. Then you got Jaquarius Tart at safety with Slay.
Yeah,
dude, like they got a team. But again, I like Hurts. I feel like Hurts, this is his, make it or break it year. Because if he can't do anything with this, they're definitely drafting a quarterback next year.
Yeah, I think this year is important, not just for Hurts, but for Nick Sirianni. Because I mean,
I say him more than Hurts.
Yeah, I think him more than Hurts too. Because Hurts, we've seen flashes of Hurts. That's why I'm still a little skeptical because we've seen flashes. To me, we haven't seen a consistent. Now, this is the same argument that you hear a lot of people say about Lamar Jackson. As far as can he throw the ball, can he do this, can he do that? But Jalen Hurts is not Lamar. MVP. Yeah, Jalen Hurts is not Lamar. That's just the thing. So I do think for lack of a better term, the jury is still out. But on paper, if you look, to me, this Eagles team is better than the Super Bowl winning Eagles team. Now, I'm not, but think about that. Again, look at you got Slade.
First of all, you starting off at the top of the pyramid with Hurts. We all know how important a quarterback is. That Super Bowl team with 2 quarterbacks deep.
That's true.
Wentz was a dog.
Before, yeah.
And then Foles won them the Super Bowl.
That's true.
Hurts has done nothing to be in that. No.
I just think roster rise.
If we're analyzing it, they have a better offense than that Super Bowl team. They have better skill position players offensively. AJ Brown's better than Alshon Jeffrey dreamt he could be.
Whoa,
okay,
hold
so
on.
Now you're gassing it because
now you going a little crazy.
Well, you might be 5 spots ahead with AJ Brown. Alshon Jeffrey in his prime. Are you crazy?
Yeah,
it's better than AJ Brown right now.
I didn't say he was better. I said he was comparable. Alshon he might be. If AJ Brown's a 90, he's an 85.
Yeah,
you saying that like he's a 75? Are you crazy?
Alshon Jeffrey was different, man.
Like in his prime, when he's healthy.
I like them coming out of South Carolina. I like Alshon. AJ Brown though,
man, AJ Brown had like 1-2 good seasons maybe.
This is his 4th year in the league. Why you think he got the deal he got?
I do think
he been injured a lot too, especially lately.
But I do think that
last year,
I think you can see there's something to be said about a quarterback that has a number 1 receiver. That's something that I think is going to help Jalen Hurts a lot. Because I mean, I'm not saying it's all on him, but when you look at Stephon Diggs with Josh Smith, when you look at DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray, when you look at Patrick Mahomes with, well, he make anybody number 1 receiver, honestly.
Y'all go gassing them.
But I'm just saying,
Travis Kelce the number 1 this year. But yeah.
So I'm just saying, I do think that there's a lot riding on this season, and I'm not saying they have to win.
They have to win the division.
They have to win the division. I was about to say they have to because
the way this division, the narrative is.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks with Washington. There's a lot of question marks with Dallas. There's a lot of answers with the Giants, and it's not good answers. You just have to win this division. And let's kind of move over to what we have to talk about. Let's talk about the Giants.
The best team in the division. They know who they are. They have an identity, and they're going to carry out that game plan every week.
As long as Danny Dimes is out there wheeling and dealing, I'm cool.
They're gonna be 2-15. They got a game plan. It's not a good one.
Do you think that
4-13?
Do you think that if he struggled, because it looks like he's been struggling? I mean, that's for everything we've seen in camp preseason.
I saw one camp throw where he like whiffed the ball like a 7-year-old could throw a better ball.
Yo, I seen the preseason game where the dude had a slant wide open and the man threw it to Baltimore. I just look. Do you think that if they don't succeed this year, which we don't see it, but if they like have a horrible season, do you think that the Giants will truly start to look for another receiver? I mean, no, another quarterback.
You have to.
They should, yes. But the Giants are known for making boneheaded front office decisions. The last few years, I mean, look, but we're not. This is not rocket science. I mean, Danny Dimes ain't been good for what 3 years or whatever. So if he's asked this, I mean, trash this year, you know.
Yeah, that's
you have to. They'll be in the Bryce Young sweepstakes, which I hope does not happen for our sake.
Whatever.
I think.
What you mean? Whatever. Bryce Young with that team, I don't want that.
I don't know, bro.
In your Heisman house, Rob.
The jury's still out on Bryce Young, in my opinion. But
right.
I think
I remember this, y'all. Remember this day.
I remember, brother. I remember.
If he lands on the Giants, we're gonna remember a lot of days.
Yeah. I think that a lot, and I mean an absolute lot, is going to ride on the health and the progression of Saquon Barkley. I think they want to use Saquon kind of like the Panthers use Christian McCaffrey. It's foolishly. But
Saquon can take that type of punishment.
How do you know?
Yeah, how do we? That's a good.
He's literally been injured. The majority,
and he did not have a good season. I had him on fantasy last year, so I know he didn't have a good
season.
That's a I don't know why you did that.
Crazy.
Yeah, but I just
think the key for Saquon having a better season is if Kadarius Toney stays healthy and has a breakout year. Not like go super crazy, but if he can become a maybe 1,000-yard receiver, that opens the box. Because remember, it was like 8 people on the box. It's like, we don't respect the receivers.
How are you going to be a 1,000-yard receiver when you got Danny Dimes throwing you the ball, man?
Look, I'm about to say, the Giants.
When gadget plays, though, like if you looked at Tony,
gadget plays don't get you 1,000 yards.
Plays don't get you 1,000 yards.
Like, are you crazy?
Okay.
This is like this man said Trey Lance is going to go for 4,500 yards.
Like, yeah, the only way gadget plays get you 1,000 yards if you got Drew Brees throwing you the ball and your name is Michael Thomas. Like, that's the only way.
Like, if you Ricky Williams running Wildcat stuff, then yeah, you can get 1,000 yards rushing.
I do think Quintarius Toney is a phenomenal wide receiver. I do think that he has the skill set to be a number 1 receiver. It's just
phenomenal.
I think he's good. I think we've seen flashes last year that he can be a monster.
He's a receiver in the NFL. He should show flashes. I saw Darius Hayward-Bay catch a few go routes.
What Tony did to Dallas, I was like, oh,
okay. Dallas, me, you,
Trayvon Diggs.
Okay. We're gonna talk about Dallas. We're gonna talk about Dallas in a second, but we're gonna have an honest conversation about Trayvon Diggs.
We can definitely have that honest conversation.
So all right. So let me ask you this: what is your projection? If we talk about a 17-game season, I'll start with you, Jerrell. What is your projection of like how good or what is the win total for the Giants?
The Giants, bias aside, they probably win 6 games at max.
Oh yeah, it's over with. It's over with for Danny Dimes.
Yeah, no, like Danny Dimes shouldn't. No way. I will say though, it'll be like they'll be competitive. Like Danny Dimes will give you like 2 really good games early. We'd be like, oh, they might be onto something, and then crash and burn. They're gonna start off early, and then it's gonna.
You remember last year when they played Washington, he had the greatest game of his life. They still lost, but I was like, yo, They had this man running like he was Cam.
That's when you knew they was trash. How you lose to us and he was cooking.
Well, we gotta send love to Darius Slayton for dropping a wide open touchdown that would have ended the game. that did happen.
That's another thing, yo. You bring on Darius Slayton. You bring on what's his name, bro?
You got Galladay.
Yeah, Galladay.
They got people like they're not talentless. They just
look. If Danny Dimes is throwing them the ball, and that line is trash.
Yo, their defense, especially that front seven with Babineau and what's other corner name? They got some people.
Defense don't matter if your offense is trash. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Especially if you're aggressively trash.
They're not going to be great. Like they'll be bad.
Right. Like Trent Dilfer wasn't good, but he wasn't aggressively bad. Danny Dimes was aggressively bad.
And you have a Hall of Fame
greatest defense ever assembled, bro.
But
like
again, that defense wouldn't have mattered if Trent Dilfer was just tossing the ball to the
That is very true. Trent Dilfer.
When Tony Banks was out there not doing anything, that defense don't matter, bro.
That's very true.
I saw it in person, so yeah, I know.
Yeah, but you can hold a team to 14 points, but if you can't score,
if Danny Dimes is giving you the ball at the 40 every time,
that's why I think it's gonna be frustrating because you're gonna see their defense. You're gonna be like, man, they're holding cats to like 20 points, 17 points, but they're gonna put up 14, 13. Like they're not gonna be able to score. And they have the talent to score.
I do think that they hope that, when you bring on Brian Daboll, I think they're hoping that it has the same effect that, he had on Josh Allen, which nobody in here
ain't Josh Allen.
And nobody here believes that. But I think, they think, they got a new GM. I just don't see it happening.
Unless he's suiting up to play football.
Yeah.
That GM don't matter.
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I think this team has the most question marks to it, honestly, as far as, can Dak Prescott lead a team when you don't really have at least to this point, a number one wide receiver. If I'm not saying CeeDee Lamb can't be that, and Cody's going to have to be, but we'll see about that. The offensive line isn't what it's been for the past few years. The defense isn't what it's been the last few years. You lose Randy Gregory. You still have, Mike McCarthy not knowing what time it is and not knowing how to operate the clock. He didn't even do that. He couldn't. I'm not going to talk about it. He just can't. He's not good at that. He's never been good, like you said. I guess I'll ask you, Bobby, do you think that Dak Prescott can carry this team and when he really hasn't had to for the past few years?
Yeah, Dak Prescott can carry the team. The problem is Dallas is always one step behind their identity. Mm-hmm. They either don't know how to win, like they're like, oh snap, like we got a lot of talent. You don't know what your bread and butter is, or you don't realize that what you had, you no longer have. Yeah. So Dak could do it, but they're not going to ask him to.
Yeah.
They're going to try to run the ball with Zeke. They're going to think, yeah, man, we just got to send it around Zeke, man. We'll make it simple, chew up the clock. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to be 6 games in the hole like, oh, man, like we should really just be throwing the ball. Yeah. This is the NFL where anybody can catch the ball now.
Yo, you think Zeke, and I'll ask you, Jerrell, you think Zeke can lead this team, like can be that workhorse that he's been?
Nah. I think they definitely need to split with Tony Pollard, because we don't know. Like Zeke's been a shell of himself the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
I feel like, and Tony Pollard gave them like a nice little spark. Like it could be a thunder and lightning type situation. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing what Rob was saying, going back with Dak, you have CeeDee Lamb. And because Gallup's out for at least the first 6 weeks because of his injury coming back from ACL, you don't really have another proven receiver. So that's the thing. I think CeeDee's talented. I think he could be a number one. But if we double CeeDee, who's beating us?
Yeah, and that's one thing that
they got them tight ends, bro.
They cool. They not like
Golden Schultz and
Schultz is cool, bro.
He cool.
He be getting them yards.
That is true. That he
gets from the school of Jason Witten.
He gets
he ain't
no athletic ability. Somehow always open. You're like,
somehow
bro.
always in the end zone. Yeah, I do. So I think that, one of the biggest. Now, yes, it's been injury for Ezekiel Elliott as far as his quote unquote decline, but I also think it is the fact that the offensive line has gotten considerably worse the last few years.
Yeah, they got older.
And it's like, yeah, now you they used to have the best offensive line by a wide margin in the league. Now it's just like, all right, what are we doing here? So, and I think you were able to lean on that. While it didn't, of course, they didn't equate none. You were able to lean on that. Zach or Dak didn't have to do that much because he had the longest pocket of all time. He didn't, Zeke had, mountain wide holes.
That was the problem. It's the same thing with Russell Wilson. You don't need a line that just stands in front of him and says, "Oh, yo, no one can hit you." It's like, now I gotta just sit here and try to find someone to get open or something. It's like, no, that line is going to be okay if he can move around. As long as he's aggressive and attacking defenses, that offense is going to look great.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to my point as to why I was so confused with the whole Amari Cooper thing. It's like the one thing that you want is sureties. Your offensive line is not a surety, your defense is not a surety. You want sureties, and there's a drastic difference between Dak Prescott when Amari Cooper's on the field and not on the field.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, why would you not pay that man?
And they lost, what's his name? Wilson.
You lose Cedric Wilson. You think that Michael Gallup's going to be that guy coming off of an ACL tear. It just doesn't. I understand the whole homegrown thing, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And then we get to Trayvon Diggs.
Ooh,
Trayvon Diggs, he's great at intercepting. But what a lot of people don't talk about is he gets killed because he gambles every single play.
So does Asante Samuel.
They say he's the first corner to give up 1,000 yards in a season.
And look, and think about all we heard last year was he had like 11 or 12 interceptions.
Yeah, 11 interceptions,
which is great. But you also gave up 1,000 yards. You gave up 1,000 yards.
But here's the thing. If Dallas just focuses on not being a lockdown defense and just being what the Patriots were a couple of years where they say, yo, you might be able to chew up the field on us, but we can get a couple fumbles here and there and a bunch of interceptions. And that's what's going to change the game.
But that's an argument that me and you've had, Rob, where like that Patriots defense, especially with Asante, they had Hall of Famers each level of the defense. Like Wolford, you put McGinnis and Brewski, then you got Rodney. Like you had dogs each way. Where if Asante wanted to, take a gamble, I got someone in the back that got me.
Oh no, see, they don't have the Patriots defense when they had Asante and stuff. They got it like when they had like Brandon Spikes or whatever. Like they had playmakers on defense, but they wasn't locking things
having
up.
Parsons is definitely going to help, but to have Diggs, who when he's not making plays with the ball is a liability, and Anthony Brown, who is the worst corner in the entire league.
He's on the same.
That's the problem,
Apple, bro.
He don't get picks. He just gets burned.
That's true.
That's why I've never been so mad at Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoffs. I'm like, out of all the players to get a pick, you let Anthony Brown get a pick.
Anthony Brown was talking. You remember? They forgot about me. I'm like, Jesus. That's crazy. He's burned by number twos.
I just realized that by threes, bro. Like he's
so all right. So now, who do you trust more, Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts?
Oh well, I trust Dak Prescott more, but I trust that coach more than I trust
situation. Yeah,
McCarthy.
I don't think that's Nick Sirianni. I don't think it's that far off than Mike McCarthy.
I can see the thing. No. Because Sirianni's he knows what plays what he's going to do. Mike McCarthy just comes up there like, "Hey guys, what are we doing today?"
Yeah, what are we doing?
Mike McCarthy, like my fear when Dallas was looking for a coach, I was like, I don't want them to get like a prodigy or anything. And it was like, again, Mike McCarthy. I'm like, so Jason Garrett 2.0, cool, mediocrity, I'll take it. Give them flashes, give them hope. He did win a bowl, cool. And
to me, you're starting to see just how good Aaron Rodgers really is. Seeing as though, to me, he's like, is Matt LaFleur a good coach? We don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, he's definitely a good coach.
Is he? I don't know. That's
You think it was LaFleur's fault that they lost against the 49ers?
I do think it was.
Every time.
I do think it was his fault that the last 2 playoff games that the offense just crumbles and
he told him throw 25 times to Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I don't know about
that's Aaron or
and you went across the middle. Is LaFleur supposed to throw the ball to the Zard?
And I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy, so you telling me game on the line,
you take him out
down, you can't run 8 yards, bro. Like,
yeah,
you throw it in the triple coverage.
That's true.
Into Devontae, and he doesn't have Devontae. You got Aaron Rodgers putting his new receivers under the bus for what? Like,
I did see that.
Aaron Rodgers isn't a great leader, great quarterback, amazing talent, horrible leadership.
So, do you think that this Dallas team can win with Mike McCarthy as their head coach?
Yeah, they can win.
Win what? A division? They can win a division.
Okay.
Win a playoff game?
Win a playoff game.
They can win a Super Bowl without McCarthy. This year?
Win a playoff game.
Not this year.
No,
I think this, if they do not at least make it to, I think they'll make it to playoffs. If they don't at least win a game in the playoffs, I think that it's over
Dallas
with.
Ain't making it. Dallas not gonna make the playoffs this year.
If Dallas doesn't make the playoffs, I think it's over with for Mike McCarthy, especially when you have Sean Payton waiting in the wings.
Yeah, it should have been over before when he get done with Green Bay. Dude's trash.
That's true.
I could coach Aaron Rodgers right now.
I can
with my Madden playbook.
See, and so you asked me about Matt LaFleur, but you telling me that you can coach Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm saying. The difference
is I could coach him. I just can't make him throw the under route to your man at 60 yards open. Man, I can't do that.
That's true. That's true. So we have arrived.
Yeah.
Let me get my grievance. Let me get my grievance out the way before I hand it to you guys. So we're at Washington, as a whole, as a team, Washington's a good team. You have McLaurin, you have the defense, Jonathan Allen, Payne, even though clearly they don't like each other. You got, Chase Young is not going to be there for the start of the season, but of course you have Chase Young.
We got Sweat. We got
Sweat. Yeah. But you get Carson Wentz. Now, I will say that at the time, Carson Wentz was the best available option. You tried to get Russell Wilson. That didn't work. Jimmy Garoppolo's on one shoulder at this point, as we can clearly see, seeing as though he's still on the 49ers, which is what nobody wanted. I mean, Baker Mayfield, we tried to get Deshaun Watson. That didn't happen. I think Ron Rivera didn't want that.
Yeah.
But when you go into a situation expecting something that we haven't seen in years to just transpire, it's not going to work. What I mean by that is, yes, I think that Carson Wentz is better than Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke.
This is the fact.
But you know what you're getting out of Carson Wentz. You know that you're getting a reckless player. You know that you're
winner.
You know that you're getting somebody that thinks that they can go heads up with Aaron Donald and win that battle for some reason. You're getting somebody that is not the best accurate wise. He will. You know how they say Jimmy Garoppolo will give you one? Carson Wentz is gonna give you one or two. And it's like, especially when so we have who? We have Sims. We have McLaurin. Who else do we have?
Samuel.
I'd say Yami. I'll go first. We have the pieces. The thing about Wentz, as someone we've played him multiple times and seen what he's capable of, Wentz is a big play guy.
Mm-hmm.
He goes for the home run. And as you saw in his best year, 2016, when the plays hit, they hit. It's beautiful. Everyone going crazy. You got people like, we was trashing Nelson Aguilar. He got Nelson Aguilar another contract.
That's true.
Like when it clicked, it clicked.
Yeah.
When it doesn't, and you look at the game against the Jaguars where all they gotta do is win,
he looked
horrible. He folded.
When it doesn't, he's the only person. Cam Newton's kind of like that right now, not ever, but right now. as far as when it's clicking, it looks beautiful. He looks like,
I wouldn't put Cam in. I'll put like Kirk Cousins though.
Yeah, maybe Kirk. When it's clicking, when Carson Wentz is clicking, we saw that against last year. We saw it against the Ravens last year. When it's clicking,
an amazing game.
It's clicking. I think he had like 400 yards. Like when
Lamar
it's clicking,
Jackson
it's clicking.
Only missed 4 passes. Like if Lamar doesn't have a Lamar game, then Carson Wentz shredded the Ravens that night.
But then he has, like you said, games like the Jaguars game. He'll have games like when they played the Rams. It's just like his bet, that's what it is. His ceiling is incredibly high. Like his ceiling is like MVP level because that's what he was in 2016. To me, he was a front runner MVP before he got hurt. His floor is dog. Why do you have pads on right now? And that is something that I think. Well, as we know, Washington is not a patient franchise.
We're not.
They act like that. Oh no, we're for you. But if you come out the gate, bro, we love Jason Campbell because Jason Campbell came out and I think he was like 5-3 the beginning of his Washington start, and then it just plummeted, and then they start hating. Bro, we love Donovan McNabb because he was. I think we started the season 4-0. I'm like, okay, we got done. Then we ran into Michael Vick. So it's just like
let's never bring that game up.
So it's just like I just don't think so. One of the biggest reasons it didn't work in the Colts is because he quote unquote didn't want to be coached hard. Well, you got Ron Rivera, who is one of the notoriously toughest coaches in the league. Like, let me ask you, Bobby, what do you expect from this Washington team?
Man, we're the best team in our division. Okay, we're not hearing none of that criticism. Okay. This is easy. Look, Heineke couldn't make the plays. He can't. I said that the moment y'all fools were talking about he should be a starter. This is ridiculous. How many times have you seen an open receiver and he has to adjust to be able to throw the ball? He is not an NFL starting quarterback.
Who else would have started? Keenan or Kyle Allen? Like,
I mean, hey man, we could have lost a few more games there.
There you go.
Ain't got a better pick. I'm just saying. But look, Wentz can make all the throws that we need him to make. Antonio Gibson is a dog. As long as he's not just chucking the ball to the other team.
Yeah, bro. He fumbles like crazy, bro.
Old boy from Bama, what's his name? Robinson.
Yeah.
I think he might be the dog, and then
he is
he's the true dog. We can use Gibson as a Christian McCaffrey and split him out and be really creative. It's really on Scott Turner too, like as a coordinator. If we have weapons. We have weapons that's like.
Bro, I've been trying to talk about Scott Turner for 3 years.
He's not a good coordinator, bro.
Like he had good quarterback or something.
He's not his father. We need him to be like his dad.
Yeah. How many games did he win for us?
No.
Okay.
I think
anyway.
I think we have to get just like the Scott Turner thing. We have to understand that he's not what he is. What he is at this point. Carson Wentz is not the 2016 Carson Wentz. He
says who? Bro. When the last time he been on a team that good?
The Colts. The Colts have a Super Bowl caliber roster.
The Colts have Jonathan Taylor, who is a god, and then they got question marks at receivers. Who? T.Y. ain't played 5 games in 50 years.
Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, Michael Pittman Jr.
He emerged. He ain't
all right. The Colts have a better
prosper with Matt Ryan. Watch.
Arguably, the Colts have a better.
Matt Ryan's an MVP.
So the Colts had a better offensive line than we did. It's still questionable about the defense. They
have no weapons on our level. Stop it.
On our level,
Taylor is amazing.
All right, so outside
running backs, no.
Outside of Terry McLaurin, we're hoping that Dotson turns into something.
It's Chris Pittman like he was better than McLaurin. Are you crazy?
I'm not saying he's better than McLaurin, but
he's not on the same level.
They have the same, bro. Cam Sims doesn't play. Like, what are we talking about?
Now, if we talking about wide receiver cores of talent,
we have 20 times better.
Oh, I'm sorry, if that's another person.
We have the talent. They just got to play. Offensively, Jonathan Taylor's better than our running backs, fair, and their offensive line is better than our offensive line. We have better weapons, though. We put us in a vacuum. Our weapons are better.
And with a quarterback with that arm, can get it to the people, man.
Again, and I'm hoping
we just gotta worry about our linebackers.
Yeah,
that's really the key.
What is Davis doing, bro? Man,
I don't feel like we're using Davis right, because when Davis is kind of just freelancing, he's fine. Is when we like make him. We don't have a coverage linebacker. Like I like Cole Holcomb in the run.
yeah,
In the
Holcomb,
run,
all right, but yeah,
he in the run, he's dope. In the passing game,
I'm glad we cut
cool.
Apke, bro.
yeah.
Thank God.
Every time I seen him on the field, I was like, we got him
Our
playing
safeties,
NFL football.
our the back end of our defense ain't good neither. Now think about it.
Bobby McCain is solid. We got Jackson, you have Fuller, and we got Juice. We got decent corners. We have decent corners. Our safeties are solid. Cam Curl and Bobby McCain, that's a solid. I'm not saying
we okay.
We okay.
That's solid.
And with the linebackers we got, our middle gonna get 8 up every game.
All right, so let me ask you, Jerrell. Take your bias out. I'll answer first, and I'll ask you guys.
Okay.
About what our record. I think best case scenario. I can see 10, 11 wins. Best case scenario.
Best case scenario is 11 wins. Yeah.
Worst case.
I was gonna go 12, but
worst case scenario, I can see us 6, 7.
No, we can go to 3.
3 worse.
3 wins
because y'all.
We do have a tough schedule.
Are we all not Washington fans? Do we all not know that we're gonna lose every close game we're in? If
that's
worst comes to worst,
that's very true. Yeah,
we're gonna have like 3 wins with like 4 1-score losses.
That's one thing that's not talked about a lot is Ron Rivera's clock management. Now it's just glaring with Mike McCarthy.
The problem is his teams don't be that good, so we don't be caring.
That's what I'm saying. But Ron Rivera, his clock management, like that. But I think and he walks around, which I understand, with the whole 2015 Panthers just like strapped to his chest. Like, yeah, I got them to the Super Bowl, bro. Cam Newton was on another level that year. That defense was on another level that year.
Yeah, but he coached them.
But he coached them. So now, all right, do something with this team.
Yeah.
Like, please. That's what
I think we got 10 wins in us, man.
Got 10, 12.
I say 11 the best case. A realistic case, we can go 9-8. Worst case, 7-10? Worst case, I think it's on Wentz for real. It's on Wentz.
Yeah. And I think that's a scary place to be when you have to. Now I understand what the fuck Coles felt when your season is pretty much in the hands of Carson Wentz. Ooh, that is a tough.
But if you ever need to be motivated, we got the perfect revenge schedule. We play Philly twice, including a Monday night at Philly, and we play the Colts this year.
Also, last year was a tough because wasn't all our conference games like at the end, like consecutively.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. The league really didn't like us, bro. Our last 6 games was
all conference games. Yeah,
like we could have
division games, yeah.
And then just like, all right, let's make a run real quick. That's not even fair, bro.
That doesn't make sense.
That's never happened. Like the history of 6 division. Come on, bro.
Well, I mean, we had like 5 when RG3 won the 7 in a row.
That's RG3.
It wasn't back to back. Like we had our last 5 games.
Yo,
that's never happened, bro.
Yo, they were talking about the other day, bro. I know I didn't ask you guys about this, or tell you we were going to talk about this because I didn't even think about it, but you brought it up. Yo, imagine, like, do you think what happens if RG3 doesn't get hurt? Like, imagine if he understands that he can't go head to head with a Lodi Nada and he actually slides.
As someone who was at that game and witnessed that in real time, I've never been a part of something where like the building just lost like whatever breath was in their body. Even Raven fans was like, "Yo, did that just happen?"
His leg whiplashed forward, like. And then they tried to trot him back out there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
didn't Kirk win that game for us?
Kirk won the game for us.
Yeah.
Kirk won the game. I would say,
man, if RG3 never got injured, we would have never had to look at Kirk Cousins play football.
If RG3 would have never got injured, Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, wouldn't be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the last 5 years, and he also would not be the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. I do not believe. And I do think that we would we wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. I'm not naive, but I do think that we would at least got to a conference championship. RG3 was tough, bro.
The problem is that kept penalties that we had with that.
Yeah.
And then with the draft picks we had traded, and we win more games, where do we pick at? It's weird.
Because
I mean, we could have won a playoff game.
We definitely won a playoff game. With RG3, I think we definitely won playoff games. Him being good would have gotten other talent to come to the team. People that we couldn't get before. He was like, hey, I want to play with him.
Yeah.
And again, that was exciting football. And not to mention, similar to Carson in terms of just big play when it clicked. I mean, we all remember Thanksgiving. That's one of the greatest moments of my life.
I just watched those highlights the other day.
That stuff is magnificent.
So I was having a mean debate, and I'll ask you guys: if he would have never got hurt at his prime, is RG3 better than Lamar Jackson?
No.
Jerrell,
he's not as good of a runner. He's not as good as a runner. But in his prime, he could never run as good.
I think he's a better passer, though.
He's definitely a better passer.
That doesn't matter. I mean, he came in. You saw a direct 7 wins in a row with Lamar Jackson.
That's true.
He was immediately on a team that didn't have a bunch of talent.
That's true.
Nah.
But we didn't have a bunch of talent offensively.
What?
We had Shanahan coaching, first of all.
No, we had elite coaching.
We had Santana Moss, didn't we? We had a good Santana Moss.
We had Aldridge Robinson who could run a 4.3 40 or something and just catch the deep passes and stuff.
But we had
Jordan Reed.
We had Pierre Garçon. Oh, hold on.
Garçon,
what do you mean?
No, I think we peaked talent-wise with Kirk Cousins, and it's a shame to have Garçon, Deshaun, Jordan, because Jordan Reed wasn't on that rookie year team.
Yeah.
Kirk got the talent, the elite level talent, where Crowder was virtually open the whole season, and Kirk just doesn't know how to. We had elite coaching, and we had someone who could galvanize like Santana. That was his last year, and he had 8 touchdowns, 40 catches. That means
Alfred Morris was still a real running back.
Yeah, Alfred Morris
has no speed at all, and somehow was second in the league in rushing, which is incredible.
Alfred Morris, he was a baby Frank Gore for a second. With the whole, so before we go, I got 2 more questions. I didn't tell you guys, but we'll do it. I'll answer first so you guys can think. What is the surprise player that, in your opinion, is going to shape this division? It could be a big name player. It could be I'll answer for me. To me, the player that's going to shape this division, that's a surprise, not like a mainstream player, is, well, he's still mainstream, but I do think it's going to be CeeDee Lamb. I think that we're going to see exactly what Dak is made of, because you don't have the whole plate given to you at this point. Now, I'm not saying Dak can't flourish, but CeeDee Lamb is a number one. Well, we think CeeDee Lamb is the number 1 receiver. If he is not, if he turns out to be like a Juju Smith-Schuster after Antonio Brown, then it's going to be a long. It's going to be a long season for Dallas, especially when you have. At that point, you're hoping and praying that Michael Gallup comes back to be better than what the hell he ever been. So I think that the player is CeeDee Lamb. That is going to be, not the biggest name, but be one of the most important players of this division. So what about you?
I'm gonna go same team, different player. It's Zeke. I think if he can be that dynamic running back, 1,200, 1,300 yards on the ground, maybe 500 yards receiving, Dallas is going to win early games, and then every other team in the division is just going to give in. All right, cool. It's just not our year, man. Dallas is actually good. That's what's going to happen. If he doesn't, and Dallas starts off 1-3 or something, I think it's going to change every team's mindset.
Got you.
And for me, I'm going to be the homer. I'm going to say Jahan Dotson. I think with Terry, everyone's looking at Terry, and rightfully so. Terry's the best receiver on our team, and he'll get the demanding coverage. But I do think we caught a lot of flack for taking Dotson over Olave, and we traded down, and we couldn't get Garrett Wilson, but we actually made a really good pick. And I think people don't know how good of a pick it was until they see him play. Just kind of like how when we got Terry, they was like, is he really gonna be that good? Remember, he didn't play at all preseason. Then he caught a bomb against Philly, and everyone was like, yo, he nice. I think that's gonna be Jahan Dotson.
Yeah, he was on my list. Devontae Smith was on my list.
He's definitely gonna ball out this year.
Look, if Dotson's good, then we're gonna win 12 games.
Again, to me, it's all about Carson, bro.
Exactly. If he's good and Carson can get him the ball, he gets 1,000 yards, we win 12 games.
I was also thinking Curtis Samuel, as far as I think they're going to use him. They're going to try to use him the same way that the 49ers use Deebo Samuels.
How? He gets injured every play.
I'm not saying he's as good, but I think that they're going to use him as
not good. Yeah, if I say durable, it's not even about talent. He's fast as hell. Like, we all know that he's a playmaker. Muscle. He can't. He's gonna get hit 3 times.
Again, I think they're going to try to use him, and then when they figure out, he might not be built for like Deebo's built, we'll see. But I think that's what they're going to try to do, because it's like when you talk about the gadget stuff, Jerrell, that is the perfect player if he can stay healthy.
I think it's more Gibson, because Gibson has the better body build.
Right.
And
if they try to make Curtis Deebo, then Turner's as bad as Jerrell thinks he is.
Did you see the preseason game when he fumbled at like the 5-yard line?
Who?
Antonio Gibson, bro.
I told you
this pass. I didn't watch any of the preseason.
Bro, this man fumbled at like the 5. And it's just like, bro, of course.
But we got running backs that like to give the ball to the other team, man. I remember seeing like Albert Morris like getting tackled. He was tossed the ball out, and I'm like, my man.
All right.
Why?
So last question. Of course, we talked about the NFC East. I got 1,000 Jumpers podcast with me again. Appreciate you guys coming on. The last question I have, and I'll start with you, Jerrell, is who do you have winning the division?
I have Philly. Winning the division. Realistically, I think Philly 1, us 2, Cowboys 3, Giants 4.
Okay. Bobby?
I was winning the division. I don't think any team Dallas doesn't have any identity. The Eagles are going to try to do too much too soon. They're going to lose games that they shouldn't. I think Wentz is going to make just enough plays to the most important people, and we're going to win maybe 3 or 4 games that we shouldn't win. And we're going to win the division.
It's tough putting my faith in Carson Wentz, but because we've seen him, like I've seen him live, and I'm so like, Jesus Christ. But I'm gonna go with us, because honestly, I have more faith right now in Carson Wentz than I do Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
But I do think, of course, that can change. Like if I look and Jalen Hurts starts balling, I'm not about to say, "Oh no, Carson!" Like no, I'm not blind. But I have more faith in Carson Wentz. I also have more faith, of course, when we're completely healthy in our defensive front.
Absolutely.
Getting to the quarterback. I think last year I don't know why it was a down year, but it was a down year. Of course, Chase Young got hurt, but I do think this year they have something to prove. Of course, we remember the highlight of last year was the fight on the sideline. I think Jonathan Allen, I think they ranked him like 88th or something this year.
Yeah, he was 88
players.
Yeah.
I do think that we have a better, like I said, a better defensive front, and I trust Carson more. And outside of AJ Brown, I trust our weapons more. Devontae Smith is good, but of course we see what Dobson does.
They still have Rager, so
that
kind of cancels things out.
That's true. So I have us, Washington. I have Philly. I think I'm gonna throw a curveball. I think New York, because of Saquon. I think Saquon's gonna go crazy. I think
New York wins more games than Dallas.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be the greatest show all year.
But like I said, man, New York has a better offensive line. They just have a terrible quarterback. Like they actually refined their offensive line in the draft and the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
They
and
did
they
what I
have
hope Cincy does.
they have better weapons. Now, of course, I don't know what the hell happened last year, but like I said, you have Slay, you have like they have better weapons. It's just Daniel Jones. So I think New York I think it's going to be Washington, Philly, New York, and then Dallas. And this is not just me being a Homer fan, but I do think that there's a lot of question marks with Dallas. And while I do think Dak is better than Daniel Jones, I think New York has a better team than Dallas. But I do that, like we stated earlier, it doesn't really matter if you ain't got a good quarterback. Like you can have the 0-1 Ravens defense. You can have the Steelers defense, the steel curtain. If you have a terrible defense or a terrible quarterback, it doesn't really matter.
We seen Ron Rivera be able to simplify it and get a lot of wins. 2015, they lost the number one receiver, and they just won game after game after game. Wentz is going to only have to make a handful of plays.
Yeah, Mark Brunell 2.0, but
in the perfect world.
Hey man, he won us that Monday night game.
They did.
Yeah, he's good money in my book.
Again, I want to thank my man's Bobby and Jerrell for coming on. I'll put all the links in the description below. The NFC East, man. See, if we just take what we got from the preseason, the Washington's not going to win a game. Or maybe not even win more than 4 games. Just if we take what we get for the preseason, there's a lot of question marks. I think the Eagles have one of the best rosters in all of football, and like we said, it's going to be about Jalen Hurts. So thank you again, Thousand Jumpers Podcast, for coming on. That was our if you agree with anything that we said, disagree with anything we said, leave in the description. Leave in the comments. Definitely talk about it. But thank you guys. I did want to talk about this RJ Barrett $120 million extension. Shouts out to RJ Barrett, definitely deserving. He's a good player. He's a very important player for the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks need a stable presence, and they thought it was going to be in Julius Randle, which he's still a good player. Now they're hoping it's RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett definitely deserved this extension. He's been good for this team. The reason why I want to talk about it is because this definitely changes the aspect of what happens with Donovan Mitchell. Now, Donovan Mitchell was linked to being traded to the Knicks. Teams have to understand, bro, what a player's worth is. I talked about this before, so I'm not going to go into detail, but Donovan Mitchell is a great player. He's a great player. He's a great piece, but he is not a champion. If he is your best player on a championship team, you don't have a championship team. That's just how it is. No offense to Donovan Mitchell. He's been the best player for Utah for the longest, and we haven't considered them a championship team. They've been really good in the regular season, but you know what I'm saying? So asking for the trade, they're asking for like 5 picks and key players. He's not, in my opinion, he's not worth that. Maybe 3 picks. But they were talking about, giving up Obi Toppin and giving up Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, maybe Julius. No. They would be happy to give off Julius Randle. They just they didn't want him. I can see a really good team. Stephen A. Smith said this again, man. The last time they had a star on this team was Carmelo Anthony. And it would be interesting to have, Donovan Mitchell on the team. I would give up to Obi Toppin. I would give up Emmanuel Quickly and maybe 3 draft picks, maybe. Or either Obi Toppin or Julius Randle, but clearly they tried to get off of Julius Randle and nobody wanted him. Or let's say Utah didn't want him. I do think that it's going to be interesting what happens with Russell Westbrook. See if they can pull a 3-team trade, the Knicks, the Utah Jazz, and the Lakers, because trust me, with the Lakers getting Patrick Beverley, they're going to try. They're desperate to get off of Russell Westbrook. I think Russell Westbrook is desperate to get off the team. I know you hear reports. Ham is trying to make Russell Westbrook a focal point. You heard Jeannie Buss said that Russell Westbrook was their best player last year. That really shows you management does not pay attention to games. Yeah, I think with this RJ Barrett extension, it makes it a lot more difficult for a 2-team trade, because I think the trade would center around at least Utah getting RJ Barrett. Now they can't really afford him with this extension. So I'm not saying that Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks is not happening, but it's a lot harder, and you may need a third team. And I don't know. I do think that whether you get Donovan Mitchell or not, I don't see the Knicks as a championship team. Hell, I barely see them as a playoff team, honestly. But we'll see how it goes. So. I do want to say shout out to Jackie Young for winning the Most Improved Player, as well as Asia Wilson for winning Defensive Player of the Year. Two Vegas Aces. This is one of the biggest reasons why I think that, or I had the Aces winning it all. Now, while I'm recording this Tuesday night, so we'll see what happens. But I know they're down 1 against the Storm, but this team is stacked, bro. You have, again, Most Improved Player, Defensive Player of the Year, a former MVP. I think she might win another MVP this year in Asia Wilson. You also have Chelsea Gray, who's a bucket. You also have Kelsey Plum, who's a bucket. This Darica Hamby, this team is tough, bro. But I do, again, shouts out to Jackie Young, shouts out to Asia Wilson. You know what's funny? I was watching the Storm and Vegas game, the first one. I didn't realize just how many number 1 overall picks were playing. We talk about Jackie Young, Asia Wilson, I think Kelsey Plum, I know Sue Bird, Breonna Stewart, and what's her name, bro? Jewel Lloyd. They got a lot of I think Tina Charles too. They got a lot of number 1 overalls, bro. It's crazy. But yeah, shouts out to Jackie Young and Asia Wilson for winning both the Most Improved Player, Jackie Young, and Asia Wilson winning Defensive Player of the Year. So, hey man, college football is back as well. Now, yeah, we did get games on Saturday. I know we got Wisconsin and I think it's Northwestern, and Scott Frost cost them the game. I don't know. I don't understand how Scott Frost keeps getting invited back to this team, but college football is back. No offense to those teams. No offense to the teams playing on Thursday, but the big boys, for lack of a better term, are playing Saturday. I know Notre Dame, I think, is playing Ohio State. Georgia is playing Oregon, and the big boys are back. Now, to me, it's kind of shaping up as a 3-team race as far as championship aspirations, or championship, actually good enough to win championship. And that's Alabama, Ohio State, and Georgia. There's Texas A&M might be good. Michigan might be okay. It just feels like a 3-team race. Colin Cowherd said something about this. The difference, so the difference between the NFL and college football, let me say this. The problem, let's talk about the problem that college football has. It's not as glaring because of the big games, but the biggest problem that college football has is the big game issue. Meaning there's at least 100 games a week. Yet we only care about 3 of them. That's what makes the NFL different from college football. Yet college football is great, and people are still going to tune in and tailgate and everything. But that's what makes it different. There's only, think about it. There's multiple games, a lot of games, but we only care about really 2 of them, and that is Notre Dame and Ohio State, and Oregon and Georgia. And I'm almost sure, and I'm an Oregon fan, I'm almost sure Oregon might get doors blown off them. the college football has to find a way to allocate the people's interest to other teams outside of the big boys. NFL, you got 3 games. You got the 1 o'clock, you got the game of the week, the 4 o'clock, and then you got the late. Then you also got Monday Night Football. You also got Thursday Night Football. So, hey man, college football is back again. I don't really see anybody outside of Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama. I don't really see. I mean, I don't see Notre Dame. Notre Dame's a good team, but I don't see them. I know they're ranked 5th right now, but. Yeah, college football's back. And there you have it. That's been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I appreciate you guys. If you want a Popular Podcast shirt, hoodie, sweater, long sleeve joggers, the link is in the description below. I have multiple different colors, multiple different designs. Go get your Unpopular Podcast merch today. Also, please subscribe to whoever you're listening. Please subscribe to whoever you're watching. It definitely means a lot to me. And until next time, much love.